I am now forced to call it the bird watching channel. We keep talking about these people who are looking at blue jays. You know they're going to have a report about Canadian government approaching China for economic trade and things like that. And you know what I'd like for CBC to do? Just a minute. Give me the keys first. Thank you. And so I'd like some guest speakers you invite. Even people have been kidnapped by the Chinese government. Is tell me how China is worse than the United States of America, because it's pretty obvious what the answer is. But you got to ask yourselves as Canadians, what makes you sometimes be more outraged about trade with China than the USA? Because again, you can pick up your cultural patterns in there: hypocrisy, laissez-faire, impunity facilitation. Impunity facilitation includes various categories like double standards, right? And I'm sorry, but you know, the U.S. has held illegally Canadians as well. But also, it's unpredictable, the U.S., and it's scarier for us, so we don't really want to see how dangerous they are because they're right next to us. And we are linked in so many ways, including friendships that have been, let's say, largely about consumption. And now, they become conversations about ideologies that are acceptable or not. And the Chinese government are more predictable. So that's also something you should discuss. And, Canada has to kind of be careful what it taxes of the USA. For example, the USA is not into hybrid vehicles or greener energy. So, we do have somewhat of those values, somewhat. And we also want to kind of go more towards that, with the transition that oil is still part of our economics, as an addicted to oil culture as well. But we need to kind of shift, and shifting would be very helpful with the leaders of this, right? And that's kind of a way that the United States, Trump, and other people are accelerating the Anthropocene, is they know they can't catch up to win this battle with the Chinese government, and so they're going to go totally the opposite and see as many allies as they can get. Now, we can't play both sides here. You can't do that. You have to decide who you want to be when and if you grow up. And part of it is it's better, to join forces that are going that way when it comes to the next generations and mitigation ventures that they'll have to deal with. The Anthropocene is going to keep getting worse. The world of your kids and grandkids is going to keep getting more challenging without them having the skill sets or ideologies to cope with it, or understanding, right, the learnings they need, the human thinking tools. So one way to kind of slow down the de-escalation and collapses that are coming for your kids and grandkids is to kind of, play a part in the Chinese side of, the automobile industry compared to the American side of the automobile industry. So again, and you might say, well, our Canadian has been treated that way. Well, so many Canadians go there, and I don't have the full story of that. I've always said that. But also, probably Canadians will be treated better if we ally ourselves more there. So, when people like politicians have a hard time decide, oh my God, there's no decisions that we're not gonna go by the decision of your kids and grandkids, by understanding climate change, by understanding the natural world, by understanding that there is a collapse coming for your kids and grandkids, and that if you slow it down, it's the only advantage you have to give them. Because you don't have the thinking tools to give them. The systems thinking, culture repairing, polymath specialist, you don't want to make use of it. I may very well be the only culture repair polymath systems thinking expert in Canada, And you would think, oh my God, it should be easy for me to get a job. No, I don't even think Canada is anything other than an underdeveloped country like all the other ones. Otherwise, I would be consulted all the time. I would be collaborating for projects to kind of help your kids and grandkids in these mitigation ventures that they need. But that's not happening. So if it's not happening and you guys can only think in the magical monetary paradigm of economics, then yes, please save your kids and grandkids by having more associations with China than the USA.